The Kansas Oil Museum in historic downtown El Dorado proudly displays over 140 years of Kansas history, antique vehicles, geology, natural history, or hands-on fun for all ages. Our 10-acre museum in historic Boomtown has something for everyone.
The following program is brought to you by TZ Productions, offering 40 years of media experience.
Brought to you by Central Security Group, your experts in home automation, security, and peace of mind. View video on your smartphone and control your home's lights, locks, heating, cooling, and more. Security app compatible with Apple Watch and Amazon Echo. Ho, ho, ho! It's time for a special Christmas edition of Positively Kansas.
People love it. We invite friends and family out every year, and they just come in and are shocked at the way it looks.
How many Christmas trees can you fit into one house? You'll meet the Valley Center woman who's pushing the limits and loving every minute of it. Also, if you still haven't finalized your menu for Christmas dinner, well, we have a light and delicious idea you may never have heard of, but it's a holiday tradition for this chef. Plus, this man's memories of Christmas in Kansas have been put to music and shared with the world. Learn why these old 8mm movies strike a chord with so many people. We also have music. We're glad you're here. I'm Sierra Scott. Our Positively Kansas Christmas special starts right now. For many families, it's one of the highlights of the holiday season, picking out and decorating a Christmas tree. Now meet a Kansas woman who's taking that tradition to the extreme. In fact, she may have set a world record. Jim Grayway paid a visit. Let's see what he discovered.
I like finding things and putting them on trees that people wouldn't think about putting on a tree. It's fun. And it brings back so many memories. When I see a Christmas tree, I just feel good.
And if one is good, more must be better, right? Well, that's Carmen Labarge's philosophy anyway.
There are trees in every single room. Bathrooms, hallway, every bedroom, everywhere.
In fact, Carmen has, get this, 466 Christmas trees in her rural Valley Center home.
People love it. We invite friends and family out every year, and they just come in and are shocked at the way it looks and mesmerizing just watching all the lights.
This is a Christmas tradition that started small and just grew and grew and grew.
When our sons, who are now 30 and 32, when they were young, they each wanted their own Christmas tree in their bedroom. So I made a Christmas tree for them. And as I'm a special ed teacher, and one year I decided it'd be a great idea to make a Christmas tree for every one of my students. And it kind of just exploded after that.
The biggest is 12 feet high, the smallest a petite 6 inches, and there is every size in between. Each one has a theme. There's one that's decorated with the old cookie cutters that belonged to Carmen's grandmother. There's a Star Wars tree, a Star Trek tree, an Elvis tree, a Kiss tree, a Boy Scout tree, a barbed wire tree.
We have everything from the bottle tree and the tree made out of wine corks to a NASCAR tree. We also have sports trees. We have WSU, K-State, and the Chiefs and the Royals.
The collection has grown to the point where it takes Carmen and her husband 5 weeks to get them all out and decorated.
This is my master bathroom, and it is a peaceful oasis for me. There are trees that are lit up and battery operated. We do not bathe with the plug-in trees going. There is also a tree in here that has shotgun shells on it.
Carmen assures me she's not crazy. She just loves Christmas, and this has become a part of her family Christmas time tradition that never gets old.
Jim says that once the Christmas season ends, Carmen spends several more weeks dismantling the trees and putting them away. Most are artificial, so she stores them away until next year when she decorates them all differently. Meanwhile, all year long, she's brainstorming new ideas and making and collecting more trees and ornaments. Right up there with the trees and the gifts, what would Christmas be without lots of great food? Here in Kansas, turkey, ham, and other Midwestern fare are always a slam dunk this time of year. But as our Hispanic population grows, many of us are introduced to a wider range of holiday possibilities. We sent Anthony Powell to the popular Molino's restaurant in North Wichita to learn about a popular Christmas time dish in Mexico. Grab a pen and paper. You might want to write down this recipe.
Well, we're gonna try to show a meal, a typical meal in Mexico, or Mexicans what we used to get during Christmas. There's different dishes, but today we're gonna have pozole.
Pozole.
It's gonna be very easy. As I said, let's think about that this is a flame below the pot, okay?
Okay.
So we're gonna use the meat, just cutting for, add the onion, garlic. We're gonna give you the recipe at the end, just in a step by step, and that way you can really have the chance to see it. You put the garlic, so let it boil. And in the meantime, when you have this, you need to start just making like a puree with all the ingredients mixed together. When it's just really boiling, or the meat is cooked, when it's just tender, we add the spices.
So tasty. And look what I learned today, a traditional, meal in Mexico.
Yes, this and pozole is for any special occasion, man.
Any special occasion, not just Christmas.
Not just Christmas.
But it's very popular at Christmas time, though.
Yes, because of the weather. I mean, it's colder in some regions in Mexico. It's colder, so pozole is always.
And perfect for Christmas in Wichita, because usually around Christmas time it's colder.
Yes.
Do you and your family have traditions that you like to do in Wichita for Christmas?
Yes, it's an eating all day, feeling the charmness of food and people.
I'm sitting here with probably one of the most intelligent women I know. You not only do Kansas Week here on KPTS, but you speak fluent Spanish and teach it. And on top of that, getting a master's in history. You are so well versed in so many things. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is kind of the history of Christmas in Wichita.
The first two Christmases most people remember, as far as accounts that are in the Wichita Eagle, were from 1869 and 1870. 1869, mostly folks went to the saloon and drank.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's kind of how some people celebrate now.
Yeah,
but
some things don't change much.
Exactly.
But by 1870, they had really gotten a community going, and they had their first community Christmas celebration. They had two Christmas trees that were community Christmas trees. They had gathering there on Christmas Eve. If somebody wanted to give a gift to somebody else, they brought it and they actually hung it on the tree. They didn't put it under the tree. They hung it on the tree as part of the decoration. Would have been decorated with strings of popcorn and dried cranberries. May have had candles. Sometimes they would put candles on like little tin holders on it. They had to be very careful about that.
Oh yeah, fires, everything burned back then.
Fire
oh my gosh.
was a big danger. One tradition actually that was very unique here in Wichita was the Amidon Christmas dinner. Colonel Sam Amadon, he was a very prominent member of the Wichita community. Wichita Eagle referred to him as the best lawyer in the Middle West, and he was a good friend of President Wilson. He was at a community Christmas celebration and looked around, and of course the kids were enjoying their candy that had been handed out, and he realized that there were several kids there that didn't have a dinner that was guaranteed that day. So that first year he fed about 250 kids.
Wow.
And it grew every year. By the 1920s, it was the only requirement for entrance was a big appetite. And he was feeding about 2,500 people a year. The prominent members of the community were acted as the waiters. You had congressmen, you had judges, you had governors coming in and waiting on everybody else. It just continued to grow every year. We know it continued at least into the late 70s. It got national attention. It was such a big deal and so unique. In 1924, they expected to serve about 2,500 people, 200 turkeys, 20 barrels of cranberries. I mean, this was a huge operation that they put on every year. And then after the meal, they had entertainment. So one year they would bring in the vaudeville acts and they had a band. Another year they took them out to I think it was the Orpheum Theater. They had vaudeville act and then a moving picture show, as they called it then.
Yeah.
You know, it was truly a celebration put on by the leaders of the community for the entire town. Extremely unique and got a lot of attention around the country.
That's so cool. What a great story. Laura, thank you for coming on and talking about that. That's so cool. And you kind of touched on entertainment. And I tell you what, whether it's 150 years ago or now, music really kind of is a big part of Christmas. And Ernest Alexander has a special treat for you.
Come on, weatherman, give us a forecast, snowy white. Can't you hear the prayer of every childlike heart tonight? Rockies are calling, Denver snow falling. Somebody said it's 4 feet deep, but it doesn't matter. Give me the laughter, I'm gonna choose to keep another tender Tennessee Christmas, the only Christmas for me, where the love circles around us like the gifts around our tree. Well, I know there's more snow up in Colorado than my roof will ever see. But a tender Tennessee Christmas is the only Christmas for me. Every now and then I get a wandering urge to see maybe California, maybe 10 soul towns for me. There's a parade there, we'd have it made there, bring home a tan for New Year's Eve. Sure sounds exciting, awfully inviting. Still I think I'm gonna keep another tender Tennessee Christmas, the only Christmas for me, where the Lord circles around us like the gifts around a tree. Well, they say in LA it's a warm holiday, it's the only place to be. But a tender Tennessee Christmas is the only Christmas Christmas for me. Well, I know there's more snow up in Colorado than my roof will ever see. But a tender Tennessee Christmas is the only Christmas for
Wow, what a beautiful song. Well, for many of us, some of our favorite Christmas time memories are from childhood. Well, that's certainly the case for a man named Alan Glasgow, who spent much of his early life in Wichita. A lot of that life was captured on film and now has inspired a beautiful song. Jim Grayway has the story.
I think when I enjoy watching them the most is at Christmas time. A lot of the family has passed on. Of course, Christmas gets a little bit lonely by yourself. And it just brings back a lot of memories. Reminds me of the good times.
Holidays, birthdays, vacations, those special times in the history of a family captured in home movies.
You were a family unit. Divorce was almost unheard of back then, so most families had both parents. And it was just an easier time.
In the 1950s and early 60s, Alan Glasgow lived with his mom and dad, older sister Diana, and younger sister Nancy in a middle-class Wichita neighborhood. That period of their lives is played out in scenes of classic mid-century Americana, recorded on 8mm silent film.
You know, everybody came to one house. The grandparents had come up from Severy, and most of the other relatives that were there lived in Wichita. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you had pretty big family gatherings.
There are no spectacular feats, nothing shocking or outrageous. Alan titled this film The Wichita Years and uploaded it onto internetarchive.org. He says he only did it so family members in other parts of the country could watch it.
You know, you always like to see your own home movies, but having to go watch someone else's back then was really boring. And so I figured the same reaction.
Yet these 62 minutes of film, a compilation of some 20 reels of home movies, have struck a chord with film producers and musicians around the world. Over the past few years, the Glasgow family movies have been used in some 20 music videos and other productions.
Fireworks, fireworks, won't you shine upon my house tonight?
Alan allows anyone to use the film for free and is flattered so many have.
Well, that's just it. Here I've been in over 20 music videos, and no one knows who I am, you know, so I don't have any groupies on my front porch, so.
But Canadian singer-songwriter Alana York didn't just use clips for a video. She recently wrote and recorded an entire song about these home movies.
looking back underneath.
I don't know how I came to discover some old family home movies from the 50s, but this particular one was just perfect, and it just really spoke to me. It just seemed very universal, and like the grandparents coming over, the little girls getting dressed up because they're going to get their pictures taken, or they're going to Disneyland on a road trip. Even though it wasn't the time that it would have been more like my parents' generation, but it just felt really universal. It felt like something that had happened in my family or anyone's family. The old cars that are in the shots, there was that personal aspect of feeling like you're looking back, and that's nostalgic, but also I felt like I was a tourist, and I felt like I was having this, I think what really drew me in was just this privileged, intimate view of this family. Like, for Alan to offer this up is so generous, and for me to ride along in the car as they're going down the highway in a place in the United States where I have never been, like, it was just such an exclusive, to me it felt like an exclusive behind the scenes look at this family, but at the same time it didn't feel invasive. It just felt like it could be any family from that time, and that was really special. It's interesting that it's in Wichita, so I had to look up exactly where Wichita, Kansas is. You're right in the exact center of the U.S., and I think that was really interesting to me, that it was just kind of, you throw a pin at the map and you're right in the middle.
I found this film inside my head. When things get bad, I turn to it.
It's a beautiful song. I was just really humbled that she made a song about the film. And I went online and read the words, and there's a couple verses in there that's just my feelings when I watch it.
The Glasgows moved to Colorado in 1961 when Alan was 9. His dad and grandfather opened an auto parts shop there, and the business failed. The family soon moved to Tulsa, where Alan lives to this day. But in his heart, he says Wichita will always be home. And his home movies allow him to visit whenever he wants, and allow the rest of the world to come along.
I want you there.
Sadness came with the Boulder, Colorado, because of the closure of the store and the stress on the family. Things just didn't seem the same after that.
There's something just so special about the Wichita years, and it's interesting to hear about that's how Alan sees it, with it, that being his real life, that those were happy years, because you can tell.
The Wichita years are the happiest of my life.
I love that story. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this special holiday edition of Positively Kansas. We'll leave you with more music from another of Kansas's very own. He's world-renowned organist Brett Valiant. Have a wonderful holiday. We'll see you next time. Brought to you by Central Security Group, your experts in home automation, security, and peace of mind. View video on your smartphone and control your home's lights, locks, heating, cooling, and more. Security app compatible with Apple Watch and Amazon Echo.
The preceding program was brought to you by TZ Productions, offering 40 years of media experience.